Bonsoir tout le monde. This is Kiki here again, just saying hi to everyone. How was your week and how was your Sunday? I'm debating, do you guys glasses off or glasses on? The truth is that I can't see the screen without my glasses, so I'm going to put this back on. Even if there's a little glare, just listen to what I have to say. Alors, bonsoir à tout le monde, because it's in the evening over here that I'm recording this video. And today's video is going to be about moving to France with kids. I did tell you I came to France with three of my kids. And I'm sharing this video to help other families or other people who want to come with a child or children. I'm going to be sharing a few tips to help you to make it a soft landing for your kids when they come to France. You know, when you're coming with kids, it's a whole different ball game. You as an adult coming alone, you know you're able to handle whatever challenges thrown your way. And then sometimes if you're a parent coming with a child or children, you assume that so far the kids are fed and they have what they need, they're not worrying about money, you think everything is okay. But I'm sharing this video because there are some tips that you can use to help your kids to make it as soft as a landing as possible in a new culture, a new language, you know, and they're not used to being around a large number of white-skinned people. First thing I would love you to consider is, first tip, arrive in summer, during the summer holidays or around that time. That's early June up to the end of August. Try to arrive during that time. For example, myself, I had booked my ticket I booked my ticket like sometime in December before the summer that was coming, and I did it. I had a fate. I was motivated by fate. Like, my mindset was that it's me and my kids or not, you know. So I'd already bought my tickets way ahead of me getting my visa, you know. And you know that my background is that I'd already been coming to France on teacher training programs before then. So I would say that I was really confident. I don't know, you know, but I was confident, and I had made up my mind that faith-based, faith-motivated, I'm going to come with my kids. And I bought tickets and I got really good seats, and I got them not as expensive as usual summer tickets, you understand? So try to plan to arrive during the summer holidays. Why I say that is because the kids will have the opportunity to get used to the environment. You take them around to see the environment where they're going to live and things like that. That's the whole point of it. The second tip I want to share is that, please, if you can and if you're able, I know shipping off your children to a French language center before your arrival is not really practical because you have so many things to prepare for. But if you can afford it and you can take the time to invest in a French teacher to come to the house and kind of give them a feel of the language, and, you know, let them have some French lessons at home if you can. I did not do that, you know, and in retrospect, it's something that I wish I had done. Just not really, they might not really learn to speak from that person, but they'll get used to the sound of the language, and the person will probably teach them a little bit about the culture. If you can afford it, please do that. Just give them a basic background to French. And kids, you know, if it's in a playful way that the person is teaching them, they'll tend to pick it and they won't forget. The third tip I would like to share is that I believe at this point you already did some research, and the research I'm talking about is that you know the area you guys are coming to already. You kind of know the accommodation that you're getting by now. Check for schools in that area. Try to use Google Maps to actually look for the actual video of the school, the environment, and try to read as much as you can about that environment, the school where they are coming to. Try to use search engines to find out more about the school where your kids are coming to. Then when you have that and you can get an email, make contact with the directrice or director, that's the headmaster or the headmistress. Try and make a contact. Just say, hello, we're coming, we're moving in, and I have kids age so and so age. You know, just get the conversation flowing so they are a little bit familiar with you. And you can do this with, you know, 2 or 3 schools that are in that area. You know, so you don't know which one you're going to yet, but just make contact. Just send a simple email, and, you know, you see from there you get more information. Okay, what should I prepare for? And then they might help you, give you some information before the children actually land in France with you. My last tip that I would like to share before you get to France. This is a tip before leaving Nigeria or wherever you're leaving. Make sure you get all your certificates and all the documents for the kids, like their vaccination cards, their birth certificates, and every other document that if you have anything to say about the kids, even health, if they have any health issues, have the doctor's whatever letter or anything, have them with you. Make sure you travel with them, but also, if possible, all legal documents like even your own birth certificates and things like that, try and have them translated into French and notarized, maybe at Alliance Française, for example. The reason why is that it's so much more expensive to do it here, and if you do it before you come, most of the time they always ask you to accompany every document with a legal translation, and that will cost you a lot of money when you just arrive and you're trying not to spend too much. So these are things you can use to help yourself. Take your time, get a budget, get someone in maybe Alliance Française to do the translation of your documents. I'm talking birth certificates, university certificates, you know, every official document you might use to, you want to submit to the government or anything like that, or anybody, you need to have them translated into French. Just spare yourself the stress and the expense. If you can do it back home before coming into France, it will help you a great deal. Just be ready. Bring as many documents that you need to prove any point. You know, you don't just say, oh, I'm a widow. No, show us the document. So like when I came with documents, my the death certificate of my spouse. I came with my children's vaccination card. I came with their birth certificate, my own birth certificate, my university degrees, and things like that. You understand? You have an idea. So just to be ready for anything. If you say anything, make sure you can back it up with a document. Okay. Another tip is that if you have a child below the age of 3, you have to seriously consider what kind of care that child will take, because it's expensive here as well. Most families in France are sponsored, have support from the government for childcare. But if you're a stranger, you're a foreigner coming into the country, you have no rights per se, you know, so you can't really access that childcare that's affordable. So preferably make arrangements. I don't know what you might do, because to be honest, I had to pay out of my nose for childcare. When I came into France, my son was 2 years old. He was not old enough to start daycare, and we did not have rights to the creche, you know, so I couldn't benefit from that. So it really cost me a lot, and it was a lot of stress for me trying to go to school as well as drop him off with the nanny, you know, and it wasn't like I was 100% comfortable with the arrangement, but at that moment that was the only thing I could do. And it cost me quite a bit. So if you have children below 2, consider that. But once your child is up to 3, they will ask you, si il est propre. What it means in French is that, is he out of his pampers? Does he know how to go to the toilet? Can he? Yeah, because no one is going to change diapers for you. I know that in Nigeria we have nannies and stuff like that, but in France nobody will do anything for you. Your child has to know how to say, I want to go to the toilet, and take himself to the toilet. You know, if the child is not independent in that way, they might not accept the child into daycare. So that's why the age for coming into nursery school is 3 years old. So, you know, consider that. One more tip I'd like to give you if you're preparing to come to France with your kids is that you should take note of the fact that you can register your child for having lunch in school or not. You have the option. It's called canteen, you know. So if your child has to eat in school, even though education is free, you pay for the canteen, that's the feeding, and the lunchtime starts from 12 and it ends at 2. Now there are some parents who prefer their kids to come home to eat and then go back to school. To be honest, that was really difficult for me. I thought it was possible to give them food and they could stay in school, but it's not done here. You can't give them food to eat in school. It's either they are eating with the canteen, or you take them home to go and eat, and you bring them back to school around 11:45. You take them by 11:45, and you bring them back to school by 1:45. You know, so it was like, what's all this stress for? I know, but that's the way it's done here. So if they're eating in school canteen, they can stay between 12 and 2 and eat in school and play. You don't have to come and pick them, but it's going to cost you, and they're going to place you, because it's a social system. So it depends on your level of revenue. So if you have very low revenue, you might pay as low as 50 cents for each meal for a child, and it can be as high as 5 euros per meal, for those that, like, for instance, the dad and the mom are doctors or something, the same meal your child will take for 50 cents, another family might be paying 5-6 euros per meal, so try and consider what you want to do in that case. And then also your child can stay in school till 6 p.m. maximum. After 6 p.m, if you don't come and pick your child, they'll call the local government and they'll send an official to pick your child. There's nothing like, please keep my child for me till 6, I'm on my way. No. You have to make sure you have made an arrangement that they will be picked on time, or you're coming yourself, or you send someone. And if you send someone, you write an official letter authorizing the person to pick your children or your child at a certain time. So how it works is that officially school starts at 8 a.m. 8:35 in the morning up to 11:45. That's school. Between 11:45 and 1:45 is the canteen period. Is another branch of the government that takes care of the feeding and the extracurricular activities of the kids. Then from 2, official school starts again up to 4. So school ends by 4 officially. There's no more school by 4. Anything that happens between 4 and 6 is handled by the group that handles extracurricular activities. So between 4 and 6, your kids will stay in school. They'll do activities, homework, and things like that till 6. So that's how it works in France. Now, as per the language issue, another tip I would like to share with you is that you should consider, if you have the means and you are really prepared in advance, you can actually register your kids in an international school. An international school is where they have the kids are taught in English and they have a French section. So if you're lucky enough, the town we are going to, if they have an international section, your kids can be taught in English. This is a way to help them to ease into the new environment, as opposed to them struggling to pick up in French, them coming straight into a French class and, not knowing anything. Although they do organize French as a foreign language for, foreigners, but to be honest, it's not quite enough for them to perform well. Like when I brought my own kids, it's unfortunate, but they really struggled in the beginning, especially children that were really doing well in school back home. My daughter was not getting good marks, and her confidence was beginning to lag and things like that. And I told her that it's because you don't understand the language. I bet that if you're fluent in the language, you would do so much better than all these people here. So she kind of picked up, and I know she struggled. I wish I could have, afforded an international school. But right now, this is my 5th year in France, and I can tell you that my kids speak better French than I do. Even though people say children pick up language quickly, it's not always true, in the sense that because we are coming from a background where we're still grieving the loss of their dad, and the meter was not quite okay, so it was an added stress for them to start struggling with French children that, struggling with the language and things, and a strange environment, and being in the midst of plenty white-skinned people all of a sudden. So it was a struggle for them. But when they did pick up, like, they've been really, my daughter corrects. I was a French teacher, I studied French, but my daughters correct me. My son, picked up the accent and everything because he was 2, and now he's going to be 7. So you can imagine he's picked up everything. And but that's a story for another day. Last point I would like to share with you, which is very crucial, is that when your kids come in, give them a pep talk, boost up their confidence. Before, I assume at this point, when you come into France, you guys came in sometime in summer, you've taken them to the school environment, even though there's no one there, you've taken them to in front of the school, tell them this is the school they're going to, you've walked around the area with them, they kind of see how the area they'll be living in, you've taken them to the market to buy food stuff, you've taken them, so they've seen how you're interacting and they're kind of familiar. So when they do go to school on the first day, it's not as nervous for them, nerve-wracking for them as it would have been. So you've kind of familiarized them and giving them that soft introduction. So I think it's a good idea to give them that pre-introduction, and then give them pep talks. What I mean is that, like, my daughter told me, there was a child during the canteen period when they were eating, a child spat into her food, and because she didn't know what it was, a new place, new environment, she just didn't eat the food, pushed it away. And then it's when she finished school that she told me what happened, and I told another parent who was kind of close to me in French, And the woman was so, you know, sad about it. But those are the kind of encounters your kids might have. To be honest, some kids have never interacted with black kids before. Some kids from their home, you know, children inherit the opinions of their parents. So it's what they have heard about maybe black people. They've never interacted. They don't come from homes where they train them to understand that humane interaction where you're nice to strangers like we are. So try and pep talk your kids before they go to school that sometimes some people are ignorant and they don't really have that exposure. It depends on what town you go to, and it could even be in Paris, because just let your kids know that there are some people out there that might not be accepting of them, but that they don't even matter. Make them understand that the problem is from them, and that you now please hype them up, hype your kids up, let them know that, I mean, you are the bomb. Because why? You left your own country, you're coming to learn a new language, you're more superior in the sense that you took the time to expose yourself to a new experience. It might take you time, but once you pick up the language, you're going to be doing so well. Try and pep talk your kids in that way, let them, and when they have their little gist about school, this person did this, I know it's not going to be so convenient for you to listen, because you're probably a student yourself, you're probably looking for a job or something. Just try to accord them that time to make them feel understood, so they will have the confidence to go back to school the next day without anxiety. And with that, I've come to the end of the tips to help parents that are moving to France with kids. And if you have any more questions about that, please let me know. Maybe I've missed out some details. But what I would say is that one thing I would have loved to say from the beginning is that as much as possible, if you can plan and book ahead. For instance, book a taxi that will take you from Paris to wherever you guys are going. Now, when I came into France, I came in on, I can never forget, 15th of August. We left in the evening. We got to France, Charles de Gaulle, on the 16th. And that was early in the morning. And then I knew, because I've been coming to France, I knew that there was no way I'll be able to take the train with 6 bags. So with this, I'm bringing the video to a close, and I hope it was useful to you. Let me know, follow me, please subscribe and share with as many people that you think could be useful. I'm going to link underneath this links for you to schedule time with me, and also for the language immersion program. There are going to be links under this video to help you out. So with this, I say bonne soirée, au revoir.